We're a German platinum partner for Alfresco. Well, you can find all the details of my bio on the website, so I'm not going to bore you with that. We're here to talk about the Transformation Server, which is a product that we created and is now in an OEM version available on the Alfresco offering list. So let's talk a bit about the history of this product. So, well, a couple of years ago, 2009, 2010, a customer of ours, I can't name them, but if you look at the car, you probably know which customer it is in Germany. So they did an Alfresco project, and they had lots and lots of content, mostly office documents. This was all confidential stuff. We were not allowed to look at the content they had in their repo. So after 2 or 3 sprints, they came to us and said, you know, this share is nice, but our documents, the preview is not working. Well, we said, okay, what type of documents do you have? And then they gave us a few test documents. So we were a bit surprised. These were all PowerPoints. The smallest PowerPoint was 80 megabytes. The largest was about 130 megabytes. One of these PowerPoints had more than 1,000 slides in it. So these were really huge documents. I mean, I don't know who's sitting through a presentation with 1,000 slides, but that's what they were doing over there. And that was the type of documents they were working with all the time. They were storing that in the repository, and it simply didn't work in Share. Share was very important to them, the preview, because people were using this remotely on small internet connections, so they did not want to download this 80 megabytes. They wanted a smaller version that they could just preview in the browser. We tried to open these documents in OpenOffice. They were using the standard OpenOffice in the background for that does the conversions, the transformations. OpenOffice wouldn't even open them. Well, if we tweaked them a little bit, made them a bit smaller, and then tried to save them, the quality was really terrible. So we had lots of artifacts in the PowerPoints that did not show up in the conversion. The same thing with our Word documents, which were kind of, let's say, complex in layout with different columns and things like that. So what we did is we were thinking about a solution that would really improve this. And we tried a lot of different options. And then we decided to build our own transformation server. So what is it exactly? It is a boxed product, so you can just buy it like that from Alfresco. It's part of the portfolio, and it's on the official price list, so it's just there. We develop it and maintain it, but your support contact is all at the normal Alfresco support level, so this is all familiar to you. It's just another Alfresco product in the end. Right. Well, what I'm going to do is present you a couple of business scenarios, right? So what are actually the situations where you might want to consider using the transformation server? I did this based on the actual needs, the actual stuff that we were seeing in projects that we implemented at SAP in Germany, in the headquarters in Walldorf. And that we also did, for example, at Leica Geosystems. There's lots of other people, companies that are using the Alfresco Transformation Server. So this is just an example, but I thought that would be relevant companies for you. So what's the first scenario that we're looking at? The main thing that we had, for example, at SAP is that their PowerPoints did not show up well in the preview. So it was a business case for improving the quality of the preview of converted documents, PDF transformations of Office documents. So you can see the standard conversion that we did with OpenOffice or LibreOffice now. It just didn't well, take all the graphics into account. The fonts were not there. The background graphics are missing. And that's just one example. I could show you many, many more. And this is something that was not acceptable for the business, so they needed to improve quality. In the end, SAP is running a cluster of 4 transformation servers. They have lots of content. They have like almost 60,000 users running on share. So they do 100,000s of transforms a day. And well, they were quite happy with the quality that we provide. So the second thing is stability. OpenOffice sometimes crashes on difficult Word documents. Of course, this with a JOT subsystem that is in Alfresco since quite a while, this is kind of something that you will not really notice in the background. But still, these documents will not get transformed correctly. So it's, you don't have a preview. Your PDF transformation is not working. So we decided that we have a very simple guarantee. So if you can open it in Microsoft Office, yeah, then we can transform it. It's very simple. How do we actually guarantee that? Well, we've taken the official Microsoft libraries, yeah, that are actually part of Office, and we wrapped our server-side shell around that. So if you have a transformation, it's actually done by loading the document into the Microsoft library exactly in the same way as if you would do when you're opening a document in Office on your desktop. So yeah, if there is something that you can open in Office and it doesn't show up in the transforms, then we have somewhere a bug. So that's very easy for us then to track it down and to fix it. Now, I can really tell that at the moment we're at a rate where we almost have no failures. Of course, there's always documents that cannot be opened in Office. I'm thinking of a couple examples. So there's encrypted documents that are password protected. They will obviously not be able to be transformed in the background because it's, you know, we cannot provide the password there. You have broken documents, so where actually there's something wrong inside of the document itself. This happens mostly in older documents. For example, the doc files, the docx files are much better in handling that. So what we did is we also implemented graceful failure handling. That means that, you know, it will not transform, but you will have a log of it and you will see where it went wrong. I'm going to show you that later. We have a watchdog that really monitors all our server processes. So if you are really putting a high load on the server and maybe something is hanging because it is broken inside, the document is not working, then we'll detect this and we'll kill the transformation process. So be sure that we will not have resources in the server that cannot be freed up. So it's made to be resilient, to handle very high loads, and to handle all types of documents. Right. Another business scenario is obviously to really improve scalability. So it's a separate server. It does not run on your Alfresco box. You can offload all that power that you need to transform PDF images, Office files, to another box, which means you free up lots of resources for your Alfresco system. This is, of course, particularly valuable in bigger environments. As I said before, SAP is using a 4-node cluster. It's very easy. You need more power. You put an extra box in it. The communication between Alfresco and the transformation server is HTTP or HTTPS based. So you put in a load balancer in the middle, and you can scale vertically and horizontally as you wish. There's also, of course, the possibility to add more CPUs. We will also scale up with the amount of concurrent transformations that can be done on one box if you have more CPUs. This is somewhat limited for some documents. For example, PowerPoint is not re-entrant to libraries. That means we can actually only transform one PowerPoint on one box at a given time. So there are some limits there that are caused by the design of the Microsoft libraries. Excel is quite good at reentrance. Microsoft Word is okay. We have wrapped the shell around this to compensate for some of the imperfectionalities of the Microsoft libraries. I think the biggest installation that I know of is at SAP. They transform on a normal working day something like 500,000 to 600,000 documents during the day. So it scales well. There might be other bigger installations. I don't know. There's a lot of partners selling this product through the Alfresco channel. So I don't know where it is deployed, but it is deployed in very big companies everywhere all over the world. Okay. Yeah. Next use case that we see quite often is the request to have PDFA files, valid PDFA that you can use for long-term archiving. So the Office documents can be transformed to PDFA 1A. So we've got compliance with the ISO standard there. And it's important to notice that these PDFA files that are searchable, so they can be indexed. Full text, it's showing up as a valid PDFA with a mark on it in Adobe Reader. So it's really standard conform, and it's not just an image of a PDF, it's really a text-based searchable PDFA that we've got there. We also see quite often the case that people need some support when things go wrong. I already told you about documents that cannot be transformed. This is annoying for the user. Most of the time they don't know actually what is going wrong. And there's nobody who can tell them because it's somewhere in the logs and well, you know, support people who don't have access to that. Well, if they have the transformation server, then they can support their users because we have a web console where we list all of the transforms, and it's searchable. So you could say, okay, a user XY has a problem with a document. He's uploaded that 5 minutes ago. You do a search here, and it will show up there as an error. I will show you a bit more of this live later. And you can actually see, okay, what is going wrong with the document and inform your user, okay, your document is password encrypted. That's what happens most of the time. So yeah, you have more information and you can do valid support for that. Another scenario is email preview. We do have an email preview in Alfresco in the standard version. Now that is just a text representation of your email. It does not do graphics. It does not handle rich text. It does not include links and stuff like that. If you have the transformation server, you get an extra transformer in the background that will handle all your EML and message files from Outlook, so the MSGs, and it will show you a really nice preview of that. I can show you later. The links are clickable even in the preview, so this is very well supported. We've got the possibility to work with some exotic file formats. Well, we do out of the box transform all Office files. We have support for PDF, transforms all image files, EML, MSG. So that's already quite a bunch of stuff. Of course, we cannot provide transformers for everything that you can think of. So we designed an open transformer architecture where you can plug in your custom transformers. This is something we see quite often, for example, for CAD drawings and things like that. The people who are using that in their enterprise, they have a tool that's part of the program there most of the time that can do transforms and to PDF, starting from a CAD file, for example. Well, they just plug in a custom transformer. they can address their own tool, and then it will be transformed in Alfresco as well. So it's open for extension. One thing we have seen quite often, mostly in an insurance context, is transcoding. So if you have old file formats that you want to get rid of, we can do all these between format conversion as well. It's all in the transformation server configuration. So you apply a couple of rules somewhere to a folder and say, okay, everything that comes in here needs to be transformed from doc to docx. The transformation server will take care of that for you. A last scenario that we are addressing now, this is not part of the product yet, but it's being beta tested, so it will be available soon. It's low-cost OCR. There's lots of companies out there that actually use their network scanners to create TIFFs or PDFs in some way from their incoming mail. So all of this is just image material. It has no, no knowledge of the text that's really inside it. Now, OCR is for us just a transformation of like any other transformation. So we take TIFF and we transform it to text, or we take a PDF with images and transform it to text. So we're using Google Tesseract for that. So it's an open source OCR engine. Now Google, well, they got it from HP a long time ago, and they have done all of their Google Books scanning with this engine, so it's quite powerful. It's not very well known. It's also not so easy to integrate, but it's working in our development labs. And the good thing is, and this is something that is true for the complete transformation server, there's no volume limit. Yeah? So there's often some scan software that might be hanging around in enterprises, but it's usually page-based. And if you have these large volumes of mail coming in, you might be looking at a serious price tag if you want to OCR that. So this is all there for you in the transformation server without volume limits. Right. One of our customers, they were talking to us and said, okay, we were really able to scale up quite massively. And it's now running in such a set and forget mode that our users, they just know that it's going to work, and it simply doesn't fail. So this is what we actually wanted to reach. That was our main design goal. You install it, you connect it to Alfresco using a properties file, where you enter the URL of your transformation server, and it simply works, and that's about it. I'm going to show you the web console very shortly. You know, this is typically not a product that you can really demo very well. It just does transforms, and that's about it. But I'll show you the admin GUI in a couple of minutes here. It's not very, just a moment. All right. Adjust to the screen size of the, is that visible? Okay, so if you open the transformation server web console, you see a couple of tabs there at the head of the page. The most important one is the history. Yeah? So what you see here are the documents that have been transformed, how long it took, and what the transformation actually did. Now, interesting here is that I've uploaded a document that is broken, so it means you cannot open it in Office, and it will show up as as a failure here. So if I hover over it, then you see that there's a clear error message that says, well, this file was corrupted. It's not a file that can be transformed. There are other messages for encrypted documents. There's some other stuff that we handle here. So it's quite easy to actually look at what the transformation server has been doing and what's going on in the back, and that's how you can support your users as well. We've got the status page about the stuff that's been going on in the transformation server, some thread stuff, how the memory is used. So you can see here if anything is going wrong. There's also a URL that you can get into your monitoring system if you have one. So it will say that the server is alive and healthy. So this is easy to integrate into your infrastructure. Some statistics, what was done here, settings about the password and stuff like that. So it's not a huge console, but it presents you with everything that you need to do. Well, back to the presentation. All right. How is it licensed? Well, it's actually licensed in the same way as Alfresco licenses its software. So it's CPU based, and a CPU is 4 cores. So it's a yearly subscription license, and we've got 2 types of transformation servers. So one is related to the departmental Alfresco server. It's the single node Alfresco setup where you have no high availability or clustering. And the other one is geared to the enterprise version where you can actually use it in combination with an Alfresco cluster. There's no restriction there to how many nodes you can connect to the transformation server. If you want to scale out, if you want more transformation servers, you just buy additional CPUs. And that's it. Very simple licensing model. As I noticed before, there are no volume restrictions. This is really very important. There are other ECM vendors that actually produce similar products, yeah, of course, for their own systems. And most of them are based on a page or a document volume, and they tend to get very, very expensive. One of the companies that is doing this is, for example, Documentum, where you buy a CPU for $25,000. If you compare this to the Alfresco pricing of $5,000, then we're really very good here. So what's on the roadmap? Well, we've got quite a lot of file formats that we want to support, so that there's more stuff coming here. Visio is one of the things that's often requested. We've got some requests for project, MS Project, things like that. So we keep on adding transformers. We also want to make sure that the transformer plugin gets a bit easier to use. So what we want to do is define a packaging format for transformers and add another tab inside of the console of the transformation server. So you can actually upload your own transformers, and from there on everything happens automatically, and you will be able to use your own transforms. So we're going to train partners in this, that they can develop their own transformer plugins and deploy it at their customers. The next things is this is a bit more far away, but I'm sure you saw the slides of John Newton yesterday, where he was talking about transformations as well. Things like video, audio transformations, things that typically require lots and lots of CPU power. You might want to do that in the cloud or something like that. This is definitely something that's high on the list, and we're working closely together with the engineering team of Alfresco. So how can we optimize this for asynchronous transforms? You push in a big video file. You want maybe to transcode it. Maybe you want to just extract a couple of minutes of video for the preview. These are all things that you can typically not do in a synchronous mode because it takes too long. So these are the prime candidates for asynchronous transform. Alfresco is also working on a new transformation architecture, mainly to support all of these new content types that take huge processing power. So the idea is to add an auto-scaling cloud support. That means that if you have a massive upload somewhere, if there's lots of content coming in from your scanner or your other content sources, then it actually will spin up automatically a number of transformation servers to make sure that this gets handled very quickly and will scale down automatically again once your high peak load has been processed. So that is something that could come in very useful, and that will also allow you to use your resources effectively. You don't have to buy 10 CPUs. This will be a kind of a special cloud licensing program. Right, so that was it, what I wanted to say. A bit shorter than we have planned this session. So it's quite compact. There's not too much more to say. It's a server product. So thank you for your for your interest. Thank you for being here. If you have any questions, just feel free. Yeah.
Thanks. Question regarding the PDFA support. Do you plan to support PDFA 2?
Well, we do have plans to support that, but that will mean that we have to look at some new libraries. Actually, the PDFA transform is also done by the Microsoft Office libraries, and they don't support that type of PDFA at the moment. So we're talking to Microsoft, we're talking to some other companies that might support it, but it's definitely on the list, yeah. Mm-hmm. No? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Roland.